Hello and welcome to another episode of Macro and the Markets by Mercury Partners Academy, and of course with our special regular guest on the topic, Professor Brunello Rosa from Rosa and Roubini Associates. The topic is Brunello, French election, what happened, and what's the reading going forward and the potential repercussion at the European level.
Thank you, Marcello. It's a pleasure to be here. We had French elections, as you know, they were called by Macron quite unexpectedly on the eve of the EU elections when he saw that the Front National, now relabeled Rassemblement National, has more than doubled the results of his own coalition. So he said, you know what, I'm going to dissolve parliament. They did it, and there were the two-round election. Now, in the first round, Le Pen did very well, and all people were now predicting, oh my goodness, Le Pen will get to government, and this will be very disruptive, considering she's from the far right populist kind of side of the political spectrum. But in reality, then in the second round, Macron and the left made a sort of agreement. People call it Pacte Républicain, which means that there's a Republican pact to exclude the extreme right from government. And in reality, with the system of resistance is called. So effectively, the candidates of one party that is third in the race withdraws from the competition and allows the one with better chances to win to run alone. With this mechanism, the result was actually totally changed. As you can see from the slide, the left has NFP is the new Nouveau Front Populaire, which is the new left-wing coalition, has 178 seats, more than the Macron coalition Ensemble, which has 156, and Le Rassemblement National, which has 142 seats. So eventually, Marine Le Pen arrived third in the race. What a change in a week. Now, the real question, though, is will they be able to form a government? And here is where the second slide helps, because you see that Le Nouveau Front Populaire is divided in four parts: the Communist, La France Insoumise by Mélenchon, the Greens, and the Socialist Party that still exists, although is super small. Now, these four components will form their own groups in parliament, and I don't think they will stick together. They are already fighting on whether they should join Macron in government and form a coalition with Ensemble, which I think will happen. So eventually, I believe that Ensemble, together with the Greens and the Socialists on the one side, and Le Républicain, which is the former Gaullist party, will form some form of very centrist mainstream coalition, which mirrors, by the way, the one that is being formed in Europe at the EU level. So is a new experiment. Has never happened before in France, having minority governments or big coalition governments or grand coalitions. So these kind of experiments are more typical of Germany or Italy and so on. Never happened in France. But hey, things have changed, and that's the price to pay to keep the far right at bay.
Okay, no, thank you, very clear. So just to simplify matter, but for myself and the audience to best understand, A, the the fear that there would have been a sweeping majority by the far right has not happened
Mhm.
because of what you just said. But B, we have a new situation in France, which obviously opens the way for some new potential developments. Just a final closing event. Of course, we don't know, but these new things happening in France, and we saw before the spiking in treasury yield going up and people being spooked. With the election coming in other big countries, although not scheduled soon, but do you see potential nervousness of investors for Europe again after a few years of basically taking things for granted, or where are we in this process?
Yeah, so first and foremost, investor might be a bit scared of the fiscal policies of France because the left wing is definitely is gonna be there to spend more money and be less fiscally prudent than Macron was. Now, Macron will still have a moderating force, but I think that going forward, the skepticism of investors towards the French OAT, that's the name of the French treasury bond, it will remain. Read over other elections. The story is the same. Europe is under siege by the populist parties for the best part of the last decade, at the very least since 2015, and it will continue to do so even in France. Assume, for example, that this coalition between the left, the moderate left, the moderate right, and Macron fails. You imagine that you may have in 2027 a re-edition what happened in Italy when you had a grand coalition under Draghi, and then there was only one party in opposition, and that was Meloni's party. As soon as Draghi government collapsed, people looked for the only party that was not involved in the previous government and vote for it, and this explained
Okay.
the exploit of
Okay.
Meloni. So the same can happen in France and in other parties.
Perfect. Thank you. We close it here. And obviously, as you can see, I'm in hotel lobby. We're traveling, so the quality of the video is not perfect, but I wanted to get Professor Rosa's views short after the event. We thank you, Rosa and Roubini Associates, and of course, Professor Rosa for his expertise and experience and availability. And we will have him soon in the next episode of Macro and the Markets by MPA and Rosa and Roubini Associates. Thank you so much. All the best, Brunello. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye.